Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Tuesday, the 1st of June. We continue to reflect on the second chapter of Acts. And we saw yesterday the disciples, full of the Holy Spirit, went onto the streets of Jerusalem proclaiming the glories of God in multiple languages. A crowd gathered around them, heard this, saw this. They were perplexed and asked, "What does this mean?" However, not everyone asked that. We continue verse 13. Some, however, made fun of them and said, "They've had too much wine." Now, the two things struck me there. The one is this: they've had too much wine. What kind of explanation is that? Peter a little later stands up and says, "Oh, it's only 9 a.m. This can't be alcohol." Fair enough. But even if there were bacchanalian groups back in the Roman times that would tumble onto the streets at 9, still completely under the influence of alcohol, to look at a group of Galileans who are now speaking sensibly every language of the Roman Empire and say, "Ooh, that's alcohol," that just doesn't make sense. That's one of the lamest explanations I've heard. It's nonsensical. So as Christians, we must expect when people want to put Christians down or stand against God, they're not going to be sensible. Very often they're not going to make sense, and you just have to accept it and say, well, you can't argue with a put down. That's it. It's not a rational engagement. It's a making fun of and pointing fingers. Too bad. Which leads into the second point is, people made fun of them. We must expect that in some way people will make fun of us. And I can remember way back at school days, that was quite blatant. You'd be called a holy Joe or a Jesus freak or something. In adulthood, the put-downs are much more subtle. And as a Christian, you may find that you're excluded from certain events and people don't want to sit next to you at a dinner party. And there's all these kind of subtle jibes. And when there's something in the news about some Christian that's done something wrong, which happens all too often, we are the ones that are going to be pointed at and say, "Oh, you people." We must expect it. It happened to Jesus. It happened to the disciples. It'll happen to us. But our response needs to be the response that Jesus had, which was always to show compassion, to show love, to be outgoing, to be welcoming, to be unjudgmental, and to just be a presence of good in that situation. So be encouraged to do that, to make a difference, irrespective of how people respond to you. It's that difference that we make that counts, and that will win us a hearing for Jesus. So be encouraged to do it, and know as you do it that you are blessed.